Hello, this is your host Goatrix. I'll be taking over hosting duties for our Club Baroness 1v1 group stage spring 2018. With me tonight, I have Bregan123. Say
Hello.
hi, Bregan. I have Sandal Inc.
Hello.
And then I have some poor choices.
Well, what's left of them? What's up?
And I'll be taking over hosting duties this time because I'll be honest, there was a lot of matches played in these group stages, and I rarely watched any of them. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about Group A and how things turned out. One of you take it away. I don't care. Do it.
This is it's Poor Choices. That was your group that you're a moderator of. So
I don't have it right in front of me, though. If you could read it off, I have commentary.
Jeez.
I can send it to you, you freaking loser. All right. I'll send it and I'll read it off. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up on screen here too for people. So, in this group we had Affin Show, Daffy Duck, King David 73, Mr. Math, Murder Mastodon, MX Bigfoot, Obsidian Blade, Snow Rise, and Painted Lemon. And for about 20 minutes, we had War Dog. It's actually more like 8 hours.
He was the one that got. He was the one that got moved, right?
Yeah, he completed
Yeah.
all of his matches in Group B in like a week and a half.
Good for him.
But we'll talk about Group A.
All right, I do have it in front of me now. Thank you
A
for
for All
resending it.
Stars.
This group was surprising for a couple of reasons, but did follow some sort of things that we were expecting. So the top three, I believe, were as expected: Mr. Math, Murder Mastodon, and Daffy Duck. I do want to say props to everyone, though, for this being the biggest group and for having some people who weren't around. They still were able to get in quite a bit of their matches, with the exception of one person that had almost, perfect matches played.
They did have
Uh,
perfect matches played, except for that one. I need to update. I see one
okay.
missing right there. But yeah, Obsidian Blade, which heads up for anybody else considering it. If you intentionally do not complete a match, you're just not going to be invited to future tournaments. So Obsidian
Yeah.
Blade, he had lost enough that he wasn't going to be able to advance from groups, and he just decided not to play any more matches. And so he will not be invited to future tournaments. But Group A was the first one, if you exclude Obsidian Blade, to finish all of their matches. They were really proactive about it, and I really want to give a big shout out to all of those guys. Did fantastic job. They were the group that we had to spur along the least.
What was the
Right.
final records for the top three people?
But Math was undefeated, 8-0. Murder 7-1, only lost to Math. Daffy 6-2, only lost to Math and Murder. Being said, Affin, King David, and Painted Lemon were all 3-4. Had some really good showings against each other. I mean, that group really opened up there in the middle as well. So it was the top three we predicted in kind of the order we predicted. I mean, Math just looked incredibly dominant throughout his matches. Murder, a little chaotic, but still able to get it in. And Daffy, you never want to discount him, even if you know he's bringing the big hits. He plays them quite well.
And I know Murder's not a big fan of 1v1. I wonder if this changes his mind on it going forward.
No, 1v1's still not a big fan of him either. So
Man, the shade. I'm liking it.
Yep. So, any other thoughts on this group before we move on? Because I'm kind of bored of talking about it.
There were some plays that were fun to
Yeah, what a
see.
host.
Like
I-
King
yeah.
David, he's +9 Scream of Evil. I'm not gonna go after you till my Scream of Evil's at +9. And
Yeah, we could probably mention most of the
pretty funny.
players.
when that worked, though, that was actually something
Yeah,
kind of unexpected, and it's a cool idea. That actually is what I liked about this group, though. We had the
Who's that?
three people who've been around since before the re-release and the veterans, and they did really well. But you have players who are newer, or players that we at least hadn't seen in a while, that just kind of came out of nowhere and are playing decks and ideas that maybe need some tweaking, but at the same time is stuff that's new to see that we haven't seen.
So,
So I thought that was really fun.
so for that +9, let me guess: triple stimulate, trance, Lunar Force.
no Lunar Force. I don't
it
remember entirely, but it's like he's at +7. I'm like, maybe you should just start shooting some. But he waited till he was at
You only need
9.
to hit. Yeah, well, because at 7 you only need to hit 3 to go.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but why not
it
just
was
wait until
enjoyable.
+9? Duh.
And with this setup, since you have to be playing nature, I'm hoping there was like a berserk or something. Then, if there wasn't lunar force,
That would be one of the tweaks going forward that I would make to
Yeah.
that arsenal.
yeah, that sounds interesting. I know out of that group, to be honest, the only matches I think I remember seeing was the Math versus Mastodon, and Math looked very good, very good.
Yeah. He
Well,
got
let's not forget Affin, the man, the legend, the keeper of refresh and throttle fireball.
Did he have refresh? I'm not sure.
You know what? I'm gonna pull up the video. You know, I'm still tilted by that match. So if you want, you can watch it on stream. Here, I'll play it for them, and I'm gonna send you the video URL at current time, and you can watch as Mr. Math gets to dig through his whole arsenal while Affin sits on a throttle fireball and a refresh for the entire match.
How refreshing.
Which,
I'm still tilted by this.
after being Bregan while that happened, I don't think
Like-
anything has tilted Bregan more.
You know what? I think there's someone in Group B tilted Bregan more. We'll get to them though.
That'll be a good caveat.
There's a lot of things that tilted me in this tournament. There's a video that I haven't released yet that tilted me harder than this one.
Like a throttle fireball is okay, but refresh.
He's got no stats on, and Math is just running him over, doing whatever he wants, and he will not drop the refresh. The man is bound and determined.
I do remember a match where he did have a stat and he did have the refresh, so it could have protected him once. And
it's not a bad skill inherently, but obviously, and you have no stats. Drop it. Start digging, sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, I'm going to take that off of there so we can see the stats again. Oh, shoot. Apparently that closed the stats page too. I'll have it back in just a moment. For all you viewers who are, I'm sure, itching to see some more Excel pages.
Why do you think our viewers have topical dermatological problems?
Oh my god.
Choices is referring to him.
Get out.
He was super reaching on that one.
Get out. All right.
Yeah,
So
reaching for the calamine.
is there anything else we want to touch on Group A? Any other players?
Painted Lemon, I thought Painted Lemon, came out of the woodwork there and had some very solid play.
He had the same single school Kai deck in like 95% of his matches too.
Right. I'm not going to say there weren't problems. I was going to say I would like to see some different things out of Painted. But as far as solid mechanics, I thought he was really solid. Things get easier. You start racking up losses when people know what you're doing. But, come bring some new stuff, and I could see some more wins out of you. Some interesting stuff.
I mean, Snowrise and Bigfoot are pretty new, but I know they're picking up the game more, and we'd like to see them continue playing and competing.
Yeah.
I think you guys are
these
getting
losses.
stuff out of it.
Yeah, but positive. I mean, even when you come in, I want to get Snowrise, a lot of props. Like, yeah, things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, but you hung in there, you got it. I hope you took a lot away from the tournament. Hope to continue seeing you out there. Good games.
Indeed.
Yep.
So I guess that moves
Okay,
us
moving
on
on.
to Group B, and I guess we'll preface this. I never made like an official announcement, but it had been kind of planned for like a week or two now. I've got some stuff coming up that if you really are interested, you can ask me yourself, but I'm not going to get into it here in the podcast. But I'm not going to be able to play past the group stage, and so it was planned before I played my last group stage match, which people may have seen was pretty trolly versus Poor Choices. And so we're not going to be counting any of my match score for anybody in this group. So their scores against each other are all that are going to matter and I won't be advancing, and I won't be participating any further in the tournament.
And we'll ban you just along with Obsidian.
You can ban me from the tournaments if you want.
Okay, there's a difference between not finishing and just disappearing.
Yeah, we know that, but nobody likes Bregan.
Well, that's
true. Nobody does like me.
You're a piece of shit.
Yeah. I was going to defend you, Bregan, but God knows you broke me.
Fuck no, you not after that. So speaking of which, let's start off with the most memorable 2-hour match. Bregan's Troll Fest. What would you
I just want to know, at this point, I didn't know Bregan was going to be leaving. So I came in very prepared with anti-Bregan stuff. Eyes wide, very hopeful player.
Bushy-tailed.
And just literally was trolled to death. I haven't played Phantom Dust. I played that night. Got my butt kicked later that night. And then I haven't played since. And, yeah. That's where
I'm gonna make it up to you, Choices. I will. I'm gonna be your coach in the corner, assuming you advance from here, which it looks very likely that you're gonna advance from here, and I'll be your coach in the corner. I'm gonna help you.
Okay.
So who was in this group again? Don't we have Zexus and Xanxus in this group?
No.
That's Group C.
Group B is myself, Bregan, Ebony, Kamikaze, War Machine, War Dog Akuma got slotted in there, and Orange Baby.
That's right.
Akuma.
Akuma. It's Akuma War Dog. Akuma.
Well,
know your Street Fighter lore, damn it. Sandal's got me. Anyways, yeah. So,
Akuma.
like,
I don't know.
Akuma.
I
So,
apologize.
I think I watched. Let's see here. I watched the Poor Choices. I think for you versus Kazi.
That was a good one.
I need to turn you up.
Too.
Who else?
Well, I guess let's just kind of dig into Group B. Group B's been. I can talk I was in it, but I'm also no longer in it, so I can kind of talk of it as an outsider too. But I also got to play all of the people in here, so it's kind of a unique perspective. It got really interesting here towards the end. There are a few matches left to be played. We've had some players who will not be named, but you can definitely see on the chart, who've been difficult about getting their matches done. And so we're waiting on seeing how many of these they get done. Basically, what we're going to do is if you don't complete the match, it's going to be a loss for both players. So nobody benefits, everybody loses if you don't complete your match. So that'll be the onus on you. You have one more day to do it. But it's getting really close. We've got a 5-3, or excuse me, we got a 5-2, a 5-2, a 5-1, and a 4-1. All really close up here at the top. But we've been going through the head-to-head because we talked about this for a long time before we actually started recording. The way it's looking is that if Ebony wins against Hero of Time, he will advance as first seed. If he loses versus Hero of Time, he will advance as third seed. So Ebony is the one that is 100% guaranteed to be out of groups. Poor Choices will advance as second seed, most likely, or third seed. He'll either be second or third seed depending on if Hero beats Ebony. It gets messy. It gets real messy. I think he might stay second seed.
Still has the possibility, but I think he needs some things to break his way.
Yeah, he would need a few things to break his way, and Hero could make it out as first. I mean, if Hero beats Ebony, he makes it out as first seed. If he loses to Ebony, I think he doesn't make it out at all. So he's in a bit of a weird spot.
The weird part for Hero, though, the hard part is going to be getting at his match.
Yeah, I mean, if Ebony and Hero don't play, which is looking really likely, they both then Ebony ends 5-2 and Hero ends 4-2, and then Choices would be first seed, Ebony second seed, Kamikaze third seed, and Hero wouldn't advance.
So, Bregan, by watching these matches, I thought Kamikaze in this group was the one who got you most tilted watching. Is that true?
Me tilted watching Kamikaze?
Yeah, you seem kind of upset when he was doing violent change recall stuff. Or was it me? I don't know. That's I
You
was
know,
cracking up watching it.
I don't even
know
remember.
who's Bregan the most.
Am I pretty hard on Kamikaze?
You seem to be kind of tilted when he was breaking out the violent change and recall.
You have a different change decks, and it was readily apparent in commentating.
Sorry, what was that, Choices? I
You have a different view of violent change decks, and you were very much backseat violent changing, I guess is how I would put that.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's a really specific kind of setup to run. Like, I think Ebony does it almost perfect, as much as I don't want to talk about it in PTSD. I think Ebony has it just about down to an art. I think I can do it really well as well, except for I just never have good luck with recalls, and so then I don't like to run that kind of thing.
I think you just got practiced at recalling the wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just recall better, like, I just need to put in the hours and just use more recalls, and I could recall like Ebony does. That's what
I
I
don't
need
know
to
if
do.
that's the problem, but I candidly don't remember. Maybe I just don't recall the
Damn it, Choices.
You already forced
Had
that
to.
joke earlier. Goodness. You'd already drug it outside and shot it, and you had to bring it and trot it back through the house.
Well, if KFC's not going to double down, then
All right, but the point being, I guess if I'm hard on Mario, I feel like he plays a kind of similar style to me. And I feel like it's just a really unrefined version of it. And so I see my style in him. And then I get, like, when I see somebody play like me, it makes me a little bit more aggressive in my commentating.
You become disappointed dad. You're like, boy, you failed again. Your dad of four.
But yeah, if Mario plays a style I feel like is kind of similar to mine.
And if he's gonna play your style, he's gonna play it right, or he's gonna get the belt.
Well, I can't give him the belt, but I can sure give him the tongue lashing. But not directly, because I'm not a real man. I'm going to do it over a commentary that he may or may not watch.
fair enough.
But yeah, the group's
anything
real
else
interesting.
notable?
We had some other fun people in it. War Dog was a late admission due to some shenanigans. He played well. He ended 3-4. He had really close matches in his losses to most people as well.
Shout outs to using Chill Breeze.
Sandal's been trying to make that skill work for years, and it still doesn't work.
Never
one on
one-on-one.
one Sandal part.
Chill Breeze does not work.
It does work.
We still don't know why he used it. It was just in there. I saw him pop it off like 3 times throughout the tournament. I'm like, what is it even supposed to do? But, he played well.
Respawn capsules.
War
And
Dog.
Spidey with the digestions, he got a lot of healing.
War
He
Dog.
might have got the most healing in a match.
Yeah, War Dog even got a win off of me on Palace. He broke the meme there. Got a Palace win.
Oh yeah, that was a good one to watch.
Yeah, that was a good one to watch while I just had to overwrite half of my skills.
And Guinan's like, will War Dog put us out of our misery after Bregan's screwiness?
I came back.
I watched 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
I watched 10 minutes of that troll fast before realizing this is a waste of.
Well, we're talking about the War Dog series, not that one.
Well, you got
I
armor
hear
roast or
your
something?
name.
Well, what happened is I got stuck at 1 aura. I overwrote 3 skills, got a second aura particle, overwrote 4 more skills, and then got a third aura particle. And then, like, I was down to like 6 or 7 skills left, and I used both stimulates, and I didn't have a return to nature left. And so
Then the armor was...
Yeah. Or no, I used a stimulate and a heat, which put me at -3. And I'd already overwritten the other stimulate in there, so I couldn't put myself at -1, and I didn't have a return to nature. And so that was just it. I had like a 0 damage flame sword and a 0 damage lightning sword left. That was all that I had left in the entire arsenal.
Well, maybe you could have pushed him off the side if he was really close, and you just gave him a little
Palace.
nudge with the flame.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't-
no, you're.
I didn't see enough effort there. You could have totally tried that.
I did lightning sword away both of his shields. I also slapped him with a 0 damage flame sword like 15 times.
Partial credit.
I could have just ran around the tree, but I didn't do that. Yeah, really fun group. I think Group B was definitely the troublesome group on getting their matches played, but it has been a fun one to watch. A lot of good matches in there.
And we'll see. And they may have a couple more to go too. depending
War
on what they get
Machine. War Machine was a lot of fun to watch for me.
Yeah,
Orange
he has
Baby
some
also
good
stepped up.
manuals.
Like I saw a lot of players that had been towards the lower end of tournaments. Like they still didn't place very high because I feel like this was a really competitive group with a lot of top tier players. But I feel like I saw some of these players like War Machine and Orange Baby really step up. Like War Machine took a series off of Mario 3-0. It's worth noting.
Yeah, he came out aggressively in that set, and he had like a great air manual laser.
Orange
was
Baby
cool.
had some close series with people too. I really enjoyed watching Orange Baby. He's still kind of that memey multiple enviros guy, but it looks more like it has a plan now.
Could get interesting to see later.
Yeah.
Well, because he only screws over one other person instead of 3 other people.
He can't tag with them, but in 1v1, it starts to look like he has something going on. The machinations are turning. But yeah, there was a lot of fun to watch. I felt like it was a really competitive group. There weren't the only boring matches were the player who's at the top of the group because he just played Violent Change against everyone in every single match. That's all he did.
I like seeing someone like that.
And one player in particular that did not work. We should talk about him.
That's true. I mean, Choices did beat that strategy. He got the good starts, and he got in there, and he was able to punish Ebony for those shenanigans. But even those matches, like it's just the passive, I'm just going to walk around and use Glacial Wall until I can Violent Change you, is not super engaging for me to cast, and I doubt it's very engaging for other viewers either.
I like
but
seeing
it's effective. Like it's good. It's a head game, and he took people out.
It's a unique style that you don't see everyone play, and it's fun to see how the other players manage to deal with it. And in this situation, he's beaten all but one person that's played him so far. So
this is the time that we learned that Collected Dust, or Sandal here, is not only a sadist, but also a masochist.
Well, we all know
he likes to hurt himself by watching Ebony Scarface matches.
Sandal and I are about as opposite as you get. So if he's enjoying a player, I'm hating that player.
Sandal is basically the devil incarnate. He's just looking at Ebony like, yes, my child, yes. Rise.
The darkness is strong.
Though, is when they're watching the match, both Sandal and SomePoorChoices were taking a drink for every capsule pop. But for different reasons.
But for different reasons.
That's very, very possible.
Meanwhile, Bregan's just ranting at the screen. Drop the refresh!
Oh, brother. So, with that said, do we have anything else we want to add to Group B, or shall we move on to
We'll move to Group C. Group C, better known as Bregan, still ranting at the screen, saying, "Stop dark holing the dance of death."
Oh, God. So, roll call on this group real quick, then.
Somebody else do it.
Clipocalypse, Darcia, Zexus, Mirage, Malik, Shadow Shield, and Sandal Inc.
Oh, this is a packed group. Yeah,
this has been a really fun one. We've seen again. I've been really impressed with some of the people. Like Darcia especially stepped up in a way that I didn't expect. And
he had like a really great Agony's Death dodge. I forget the match it was, but it was pretty crazy.
I think it was against Mirage. Yeah, he dodged. He dodged like 2 Agonies back to back against Mirage, and then managed to 3-0 Mirage, which at least to me was an upset. But then to 3-0 it, I mean, how do you call it an upset at that point when he 3-0s?
Yeah. I think for the group,
Yeah,
for
it might
me,
at that point it's less an upset and more somebody's upset.
yeah, I don't know. I think what was interesting was how well Zexus played when everyone kind of sees him as kind of like in the shadow of Xanxus. And
Yeah,
currently what was his record? Wasn't he?
he's got only
He was
2
the under-
losses
yeah.
throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, he had a pretty solid.
I mean, one of his
because-
losses in his very first match, he took a loss to Clypocalypse, who sits at the bottom of this group, basically like 2-5.
But he's only
Yeah.
one of 2 players to get a victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like
I don't know.
Xanxus started playing better towards the end of the group, but definitely early, like he looked mortal, very mortal.
Oh yeah, I mean that match with Zexus slapped him around, sword. Two
Yeah, he
sword
read it.
handfuls
He
of
read him
refinery.
like a book. He really
He
did.
had he did
wonder
have
if they
some
played in the
nasty
same-
matches.
Dude, I wonder
he
if they
was
played in
doing
the
that
same
ground
room.
laser backdraft bullet. Huge damage in the beginning, I thought.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that I don't know. It always to me felt like Zexus definitely got underplayed a lot in comparison of Xanxus, and I kind of thought the other way around. Always felt like Zexus was kind of the better of the two, but we'll see how this plays
I
out
don't know,
going
Zexus's
forward.
arsenals are still like almost all 3-school disgusting monstrosity beasts.
And I think it's awesome that they're working because typically 3-school doesn't get played. You see 2 schools, you see 1 schools, especially guys like iDoom, but 3 schools you don't touch. And here is Zexus is trying to show that they can totally work. The aura deficit's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I just don't see the point of it, but it's working, and I feel like the reason it's working is he's that good of a player, and then he also just had such a good read on his partner Xanxus, and Xanxus did not seem to have that same read at all on Zexus.
I wonder if they played in the same room and then they were just like watch each other's screen the whole time.
Well, I know some of the 3-school stuff with Zexus. He had I believe it was like a return to nature and a starting point. So having both of those would protect him from any kind of environmental screwage. And
Yeah.
he did use some single scores too. So he actually kind of mixed it up in that way.
Yeah. I'm a fan of his playstyle. I am a big fan.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a convert yet, but he definitely impressed me. He really did impress me. I think he's definitely knocking on the door of, saying he's in that top 4 top player contention, because we've talked for a while now about how there's kind of a top 4. I think he's making it a top 5 now, putting himself up there. We'll have to see how he does. I think the test will be to see how deep of a run he makes in the playoff portion. But, picking up a win versus Xanxus and then some of the other good players in this group he picked up wins against as well, definitely speaks to his credit.
Yeah, he beat everyone.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. Yeah, he did pretty solid. I didn't get a chance to see many of Xanxus's matches outside of the Xanxus one. What's his record currently at?
He's 5-2.
5-2.
Group C is a little messy, and we're going to be trying to determine it on how it's looking because we have 3 players at 5-2 between second and third place. And that's Xanxus, Sandal, and Shadow Shield. And they all managed to kind of beat each other in a round robin. Sandal lost to Xanxus, but beat Shadow Shield, and then Shadow Shield beat Xanxus and lost to Sandal.
And I think that's probably a good caveat point to go into the Sandal Shadow Shield match, particularly the first one.
Oh
on
my
Pano.
goodness.
That is one of the honestly, when it comes to just some of the wackiest kind of what the fuck moments when it comes to matches, Pano for me, because I bitch a lot about the Xanxus match where Xanxus didn't pick up and then this one happened where basically Sandal shut out Shadow with a locker for 15 minutes.
Yeah. That was just so absurd. And it's just such a funny matchup. You have the That's like exactly the kind of thing you hope to see in this. The troll scientist versus the melee extraordinaire. Turns out it's like,
Well, and it was so weird because it's literally like the way that played out. It's just like all he has to do is literally goaltend the top of the locker, and Shadow Shield could not get up there to land a hit, and he had no other attacks to like even come close. Like no ranged attacks. I mean, I think Sandal said before he had a flash hole or dark hole in hand ready, but still, remains. They sat there for literally 10 minutes waiting for that draw.
And what it reminds me of is I had a friend growing up that whenever he got in trouble, he lived with his grandma, and she like couldn't get around the house very easily. So when he got in trouble, he just ran upstairs. She wouldn't follow him upstairs.
Brutal.
Too much work. That's what it reminded me of.
And going obviously beyond that matchup, beyond that panel match, the rest of the series looked really rough because Sandal obviously kind of had a beat on Shadow Shield style, which we know it's very distinct. When it works well. But if you have those reads on it, like guards of water, certain hangs, things like that, obviously it puts a big dent in it. And any of the defenses he had around it, like enviro poppers, things like that, just didn't come in time, and it was nasty from that point.
Yeah, Sandal absolutely broke him and picked him apart. I think Shadow Shield still picked up a map and he got a draw, but Sandal had the upper hand through pretty much all of those games. But speaking of having a read and preparing for Shadow Shield, Xanxus did not at all. He told me he didn't do any prep for it. He knew it was coming, he just didn't do any prep for it. And
he's like, I can dodge Psycho Burst, right?
And he paid for that shit.
So does this add? Do we just add this like Psycho Burst and Dance the Death now to the skills that Xanxus can't dodge along with Jackpot?
I mean, we did that in the last montage with Guinan as well, getting hit by it like 8 times.
I mean, we're assuming that's just not his plan, and he wants to see this skill every time now. He's playing a long con.
Well, maybe he's thinking he can pull a Mirage and catch it with a Dark Hole.
Done pulled a Mirage. You tried to Dark Hole a Dance of Death.
Or Pano Blunder matches that, oh my.
Nothing tilts me faster than a panorama match featuring Shadow Shield.
I wanted to
he's on the highlight reel for 2 of them.
A barrage from Mirage. I remember that commentary from Bregan. It sounded like a very poor choices commentary.
It's true.
I do mix in some puns every once in a while here and there. I know somebody commented they were a big fan of it was another Panorama one. Man, we're always talking about Panorama. I said I don't even remember who was playing, but I said Excalibur sings you no lullabies, but it does put you to sleep or something like that. I don't know. There was context beforehand.
Damn.
Yeah.
And the guy died to an Excalibur. And I think it ended the series there. I just remember somebody commented about that one. That's enough about my random comments and commentary.
Yeah, you are very random. So,
sidetracked.
Anyone else have anything? Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add about Group C?
Yeah, I gotta apologize. I tried to record Malik and Darcia's match, and I tried to record the stream, and I tried to archive it on Mixer at the same time. And what happened is Mixer decided, let's not archive it. And they also decided, let's stream it in a horrible fashion. So it was mostly still shots, and it was a 3-2 count match. And it was really close. There were some good plays to see, like Darcia just popped out Malik right in the beginning of Palace. Like, I don't even know how Malik ran out of stuff so fast, but he just de-tricked him out. And then the next match, Highway, Darcia was going for Violent Change, and Malik had Cole. So Malik's just like, all right, I'm calling him all my stuff over here, which he usually just does to retreat around, but he kept the pressure on, and it was too much for Darcia to handle, and it was just like a really close set. And I'm gonna try and make like a narrative mini reenactment of a few things if I can to try and make it up for them.
Well, I'd
But
say as much as
I'm
we've
sorry
talked
it
about
didn't
the
work out.
top of Group C, it's worth noting the bottom half of Group C was just as competitive because we see all these 5 and 2s, up towards the top in 1, 6, and 0 right now. But the bottom was just as much. We got 2 2 and 4s, or 2 2 and 5s, 1 2 and 4, and 1 1 and 6. Like these guys were all trading games off of each other. Mirage, Malik, Darcia, Clypocalypse. The bottom half of Group C was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a respectable record considering the group, the people that are there. I mean, obviously
there's no shame in losing to Xanxes and Zexes.
No,
well, yeah,
those are
the
some
guys who
good
were at the
matches,
top,
so.
the guys who were at the top of that group, I mean, they play like daily. So I mean,
Some monster
there's
players
no
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty stacked group overall.
I think it was the most stacked group. That and Group B, I feel like, were the most stacked.
So with that being said, do we want to
I think that wraps us up on Group D.
Yeah.
That's it, Group. Yeah, Group D now.
On to Group D.
Yeah, that's Choices. Excited to get on the D.
Yeah, let's talk about Group D. What was the lineup in Group D? Because this one, like I know like 2 of the players, but there's a lot of names in there. I forget. I know Esper51 was in there, and and that was also with Evolution in that group, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's your group.
That
right,
group
Sandal?
was Esper51, Filthy Knigget, I'm Kanye West, who's not Kanye West. Sorry for the confusion. Invoker of Legend, Evolution, Mech Nigel, and the Wolf.
And the artist formerly known as Phantom Crux, who no longer exists.
Yes.
Did he also kind of drop off the face of the planet?
Yeah, he dropped out like 2.5 weeks in without playing a match.
Or
Didn't
saying
he also
anything prior.
Did he also tell you he was once the greatest Phantom Dust player ever?
Yep, that's him. He said
We may never know.
the first time I played him, the first time I ever seen him, he's like, "Yeah, you did pretty good for playing against the best Phantom Dust player of all time." And I'm like, "Huh?"
Was he? How serious was he? Come on.
I'm pretty
All right,
sure
well,
he was dead serious.
We're upset he dropped out, but we don't need to go.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to take him apart, but yeah, he was dead serious.
No.
Like, I don't know why he dropped
Well,
out. I was excited to see if he could come back and show it. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just find these parts they add to the storyline because it is pretty funny. Because we've had talks before about who's the greatest, and
I think
many
there was just
people-
like so many timelines of like so many members of the community before were like isolated in bubbles, and so a lot of
Yeah.
people thought like I was the best Phantom Dust player,
'Cause you're the
and
best with your group.
they were never in the tournaments and they didn't know about them, and so they just thought they were the best because they always won the majority of their matches when somebody joined their room,
yeah.
So
Exactly.
there's like 10 to 20 people that used to think that, and most of them that have returned have been humbled by those that were at the top. But some of them have shown to be pretty good as well. And I was wondering, how good Phantom Crux could show himself to be. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see him.
So moving on, then, what are the current records for this group?
So Group D is another messy one. You want to go for it then, Dust?
Sure. Esper51 has a 6-0 record, and he 3-0'd everyone. Filthy Knigget is 1-3. I'm Kanye West is 4-2. Invoker of Legend is currently 3-2. Evolution is 3-3. Mech Nigel is 0-6, though he did pick up some wins against people. And the Wolf O is 2-3 currently.
So there's still a handful of matches left to be played in that.
There's basically 2.
Yeah.
And they're both with Filthy. Filthy needs to play Invoker and Wolf. In the middle of the pack, we can talk about the rest of it. I'm going to just describe what's going on in the middle of the pack because there's a lot of players that could end up 3-3 here. But essentially what we have right now is Invoker almost guaranteed to get out as 3rd seed, even though there's a lot of people that can end up 3-3. Kanye is going to be 2nd seed at 4-2. The only way Invoker doesn't advance, because right now the other 2 players that could end 3-3, Evolution already at 3-3, and Wolf at 2-3, if he wins his next match versus Filthy, would also be 3-3. Either of those players at 3-3 have both lost to Invoker of Legend. So he holds head-to-head against both of them. The only way Invoker doesn't advance from this group is he loses to Filthy, and Filthy beats Wolf, and he has a good enough record that ends up with a better match score than Invoker.
Yo, tiebreakers. Here we go.
All three of those things would have to happen. He would have to beat Invoker, have to beat Wolf, and do so with a good enough match score to beat Invoker's match score.
So this group is definitely, like, with the exception of Esper, is definitely the most head-to-head of any of them, because...
Yeah, we called it the group of death.
Yeah, this is...
Because the parody.
Well, really,
parody
it's death by ice. It's death by ice sword. Esper didn't lose a single match.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
A lot of people just kind of showed up tilted against him. Like, I swear, every single person, like, don't get me wrong, Esper dominated in the group, and he played really well, and we expected him to finish at the top of the group, right? But I swear, everybody showed up just tilted already. Like, they just, like, all right, I'm ready for him to shove another ice sword up my butthole.
I hope you like ice sword, because he's got 3 recalls, 3 relearns, and he doesn't use it on anything else. Well, maybe for bullet fire, because I know, like, his second favorite skill is like bullet of fire.
Yeah,
He actually hung reduce entropy, and Wolf just immediately quit because he had no answer to it. And I'm like,
Wow.
Wait, you guys hang stuff all the time, Wolf and Nathan, and I'm like,
yeah. How do you bring an
didn't have
arsenal
an
that has
answer?
literally no answer to it? Like,
Well,
a
that's
hang?
because Wolf's arsenals are the offensive ones that he pairs with Nathan, and he forgot to include all the stuff that Nathan normally brings to back
Well,
him
he was
up.
like, I asked him what was in the
yeah.
arsenal after. It was literally just, 2 to 3 Tiger Strengths, 3 Ricochet Lasers, and 3 Photon Bursts.
What?
And I'm like, all right, well, like, don't bring a hyper
Interesting
kick if you
plan.
just want to get reduced entropy hung on your dumb face. And that's exactly what happened.
Yikes! That's like, I don't. Yeah, that like definitely for the 1v1, like, you got to be ready for the hangs. I mean, like, if you've played against any of the Japanese players or anyone who plays 1v1, it's either you're gonna get rushed down or hang on.
Yeah, I don't know how you run an arsenal like that, but I know Wolf didn't. I know he basically didn't tweak arsenals very much for this. I do know that. But
you can
like I
make
said,
gambles.
That's still not a very good tag arsenal either.
He's still, like I said, he's still probably playing. I mean, I hate to say it, he's still probably playing like the other half of stuff he's prepared with Nathan, and it's like, well, like, I can see him running like the confused gravity arsenal, but without any of the other support stuff. So,
yeah, which, I mean, it worked. That arsenal got him some wins. He did decently well in the group. He could still end 3-3, basically tied with everybody in the middle. Invoker holds the tiebreaker over, like, everybody.
Yeah, like, this group is honestly very, like, obvious. Like, in my opinion, obviously it's the very ball, because these records are like split down the middle. This is gonna be some ugly deal on tiebreaker.
Well, we got 1 day left, and like, if Filthy shows up and plays his matches, it gets interesting. But if he doesn't,
that's one.
like, if he doesn't, Invoker takes an L, but then he holds head-to-head over Evolution, who would also be 3-3, and so he gets through immediately. So
I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, I've already talked to Invoker about this, but yeah, I think it's really cool too. It's worth noting again, Invoker of Legend is new since the re-release. He never played this game back in the day, and he's gonna make it out of groups most likely.
And I know he also took a small break from the game for a while too.
Yeah, he was on hiatus for a while. He's had some life issues that we won't cover here that came up that were pretty serious in the middle of this tournament too, and he's managed to.
Back, though.
Yeah, he's managed to play through those. Yeah, we're really glad to have him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, that's good.
It's great to have you.
Yeah. So now I hope if Affin Show is listening, who's been talking about wanting to do some sort of like side tournament forever, the people you're gonna have to reach out to, because holy crap.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, get that Phantom Crux guy, because he was really good about scheduling his matches. Make sure you get him. I I guess is there anything else we want to talk about in Group D? We could talk about a few of the players. We haven't talked about them too much.
Yeah. I love the Evolution putting Memory Lapse in the cage against Wolf on lane, and Wolf didn't have an answer again, so he quit. But the next round they played Sign, and Evolution put Reduce Entropy out in a place that would be hard for Wolf to get to, and Wolf managed to play around it. So, it was fun to see these dirty shenanigans working for people and against them in these sets.
And I'm gonna say I didn't like the dirty shenanigans. Go figure.
Well, I mean, like the Wolf hung the Reduce Entropy on Esper, but Esper had like 3 or 4 agonies of deaths coming at him or something at the end. So there was a lot of counterplay between people, which I thought was great to watch.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think Evolution played really well in some of his matches. He dismantled Kanye, who is the 2nd seed. He didn't really show up when he played Invoker. I think most of us would have guessed Evolution as 2nd or 3rd seed coming out of the group, but he did not play well when he played versus Invoker. And Invoker just really took him to town. It was an impressive series. I know I was like on the edge of my seat. Like, is Invoker really going to take down Evolution? This is huge. This is great. It's like cheering the whole way. And he's like doing it with Rock Shot, which makes it like that much better.
Yeah, you can hear it in the cast.
Yeah, he's just bopping kids with Rock Shot. It was just making my day.
So, do we finally have a Phantom Dust alternative? Is it Any Given Rock Shot instead of Any Given Sunday?
Any Given Rock Shot. Yeah, no, I think Group D was a lot of fun. I think that mostly wraps us up for Group D. Mech Nigel was quite fun to watch as well. Despite going 0-6, I know somebody already mentioned it, he was really competitive in these matches. Had a very close series versus the Wolf. Took wins off of a lot of the other top players in the group. Definitely entertaining to see, and I would love to have Nigel in another tournament.
Yeah, I mean, just go out, get the experience, guys, and I mean, if Invoker can come from not having played, then anybody can get anywhere. Just a matter of putting in some time and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
Like some other
choices
guy
could even get to 10 games versus a player.
All right, so I think with that we can move on to our last 3 questions, so we can wrap this up because this is taking forever.
Okay.
Okay, so first one will be biggest surprise player making out of groups. I'm going to hold my answer for last.
Biggest surprise player making it out of groups. I was just talking about it. I got to say Invoker for me. I didn't expect it to him. Like, I thought he would be competitive. I didn't think he would be, like, not have a chance to make it out of groups, but seeing him beat Evolution, making the trip, and especially considering some other things he's had to overcome in the group stage, I think it was the biggest surprise seeing him come out, and I've been really happy that he's done so.
I'm gonna go with Kanye West. He's been saying some weird things in the news lately, but he brought it, and
Come on.
Oh Lord, make Phantom Dust great again.
He's got that dragon energy.
Ice Sword was a choice.
It sounds like dragon energy would be a skill anyway.
But
It does, actually.
you wonder how much he was gonna bring to 1-on-1, and he brought it, and he's in the 2nd level right now. So
those 10 hits of Ice Sword you took, those were a choice. Goodness.
What about you, Bregan? He
already said it. Technically, I'm going to be surprised by whoever comes out of B or C, but since we are still in the beginning of those, I mean, it could still be pretty much anyone out of those particular groups while we work around the ties and everything else. I mean, A kind of went the way we all expected. Everything else has been kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
As far as I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's why I kind of held off on my answer. So so instead of addressing the biggest surprise player making it out of groups, I'm gonna go with the biggest surprise trend of the tournament, which is healing water, Bregan's favorite new skill. Bregan spent a lot of time bitching during the tag tournament about the so-called turbulence meta, which may or may not have existed when you ran to the 3 players who played turbulence. In this tournament, though, we saw a lot of healing.
And not enough turbulence.
Yeah, I was surprised by the number of healing waters that actually got passed around. And
Well, we can maybe do a meta discussion while we're at it. It's not a bad healing water definitely got to be a meta, and I think it's a lot more effective in a 1v1 because so much depends on your ability to trade back and forth, and just like you get so crippled. Like say when you're down below 5, I'd say like that's a good threshold. 4 or 5, when you're under 4 or 5 health, like you're just basically killed one shot by almost anything they have. Especially 3 is like you cannot trade anything for anything, and it just limits your offensive options so much because you can't risk throwing the reincarnation unless you're in a safe spot. You can't risk throwing a slide laser when they might be able to shoot back at you. You can only shoot when you're 100% safe, and it just healing waters take away that. Like you're down to 3 health, well now you're at 8 and they're at 9, so you can go back to trading.
But at the same time, virtually every card game or game like it, and Phantom Dust is based on card games, always treat life loss, life gain cards, abilities, whatever, as the worst possible mechanic, though, because they don't actually win the game. Because they move forward towards winning the game. Like, I think it's different, though, in Phantom Dust, because obviously you have things like blazing skills, which gives you that initial rush. Otherwise, but I thought was surprised by the number of healing waters that showed up, which of course would matter because we had games where it's like, cool, you're going to eat 4 blazing swords and die.
Well, yeah, I mean, blazing is also that one factor, but I know I just talked about it at length, but I feel like you can't underwrite either, just like how limited your options are when you're at that low of health.
Yeah, but you're still not looking to trade with most cases because you could lose simply put on the speed of a projectile too.
Well, it's not that you're looking to trade. It's that like you can take a riskier shot with your vibration blaster and play more aggressive because if he does hit you back, that's okay. You're still going to hit him. But if you're at 3 health, you can't, shoot an aggressive vibration blaster because if he hits you, you're dead. You can't come back from it.
True. But you would make the argument though that the healing water skill that you had in the first place would have been a better fit as something else that would have better neutralized that skill.
I mean, that's usually how I play, but like,
yeah.
But real time is a factor in Phantom Dust, and it's not a factor in collectible card games. So it's like, all right, give me that 5 health and get me my next card within 10, 15 seconds. So sometimes having that extra life would make the difference. And I know there were a few times where I wish I kept a healing water in one of my arsenals in some of the matches I played.
Yeah, I think it's very effective.
You wish you kept lockers in all of your arsenals so you can sit on it.
What's that? Skill 367 or
Foot locker.
No kidding.
Summon locker?
Yeah. So moving on, then I guess we'll go to the biggest surprise player left behind in groups. I don't know. I'm kind of going to the answer like with choices, but in reverse, where it's going to depend on who doesn't cut in some of them, because we're still waiting on some tiebreakers.
Well, I mean, evolution at this point is pretty much like it could. There's still a weird scenario where if Filthy completes his matches, evolution might advance, but I think numerically Invoker just has the better match score as it is. But for me, it would be the opposite of what I said for the one, would be evolution. I thought he was going to be out of groups, and he made a run in the last 1v1. He made it out of groups. He made it out of groups, or out of the the Swiss rounds in tag, and we're not going to see him in the next round most likely. And he's more notable as a 1v1 player than a tag player. I would also argue he's a better 1v1 player.
So then, if he does end up making it by the narrowest of margins, does he become your biggest surprise player?
No, because I would have expected him to come out.
But at the same time, you're not expecting him simply be margin.
And now you're just arguing semantics.
Yeah, I am. Eat shit.
What about you guys?
Your stupid answer aside, Sandal.
Love the ad hominem at the end. I got to agree with that question, though. We run into that same point where we don't exactly know who's going to drop. I mean, we could see a big name drop from B or C, but Evolution was probably my pick to take that group or go at least 1 and 2 with Esper. So for him to possibly not make the cut is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I was thinking he was getting second, but yeah, it's really close. So
But
we'll
again,
see.
I guess Bregan is technically the most surprising, but that's something else.
That's different though. I wouldn't. Yeah, that's harder to say. I guess the only thing for me will be depending on how B shakes out with the tiebreakers, because I think I'm pretty sure I had both, or no, was it? Yeah, it was B. Wherever Sandal and Shadow are. I mean, hate to say it, but whoever doesn't make it is going to be a surprise for me. That's
Well,
where
I
my
mean,
focus.
only one of them was ever going to be able to make it.
Yeah, but the fact that one is going to make it over the other, that's still. I mean, that's going to be a tough cut. That's
Well,
going to be.
I guess if I were to play devil's advocate, my biggest surprise would be that Xanxus was actually very close to not making it out, because he's part of that three-way tie. He just
That's
has
true.
he has a clearly much better match score when it comes
Yeah.
down to it. But he was still 5-2 along with Shadow Shield and
Yeah.
if it had been the inverse of the two partners and Xexus had lost and been 5-2, like I don't think
We'd
most of us
probably,
would be
yeah.
batting an eye. But when we see
I would've batted
Xanxus
an
at
eye.
5-2, as strong of a 1v1 and tag player as he's been in the past, like because he's won a 1v1 tournament and he took a 6-game series against the last 1v1 tournament winner. I think we would have all been, much more surprised, or rather, much more accepting of the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, I guess any other final things we need to add here? Like you said, there's
Was
still
that our
some
last
matches left.
topic?
That was the last topic, and you said there's still some matches that we're still waiting for the results on. For hopefully tomorrow they get played.
Yeah, there's still a few that we're waiting on played.
And then when we go, and then when we cut off to the playoffs, the format kind of like in tag will switch to a single elimination. Correct?
Yeah, it's going to go down to single elimination. We'll do the draw hopefully Sunday or probably Monday, maybe Tuesday, depending on when we get Nathan to do it. Basically, for those who haven't already paid attention or heard, it's going to be a third seed. So first seeds are all going to get a bye. So if you finish top of your group, which that has been determined in pretty much every group, except for B is still kind of up in the air. So Mr. Math, likely Ebony Scarface, Xexus, and Esper will all get a bye going into the next round. And then all third seeds will play a second seed from another group. So, for example, we could see Murder Mastodon versus Xanxus. And then, Sandal versus Daffy. So, if you're a second seed, you get to play one of the lower seeds of another group. Third seed, you have to play the higher seed of another group. And then the winners of those will all then be seeded against the first seeds, and it'll go down to a final 8. It's all single elimination from here on out. We're into the shorter part of the tournament. Not nearly as strenuous, which I think is one of the things that we're noticing is that now that we've had larger pods, it's been a little bit tougher on the players to get the matches done. And it's definitely been tougher on me. Holy crap.
We had a lot more games to play, obviously. And then for the time frame, is it going to be a week, basically like the tag team? A week, get your matches done.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is coordinate a match with one person. So yeah, you're getting a week. If you can't coordinate your match in a week, you've got some problems.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm pulling out. And so if you can't coordinate a match within a week's time, yeah, you should be just fine.
Yeah. Going forward, I think any of the scheduling issues obviously dry up pretty.
Yeah, I think most of our people that were troublesome in scheduling won't be out of groups. but well, I think it should be doable for sure.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying if they can't get it done, that's pretty weak. So,
Yes, it is.
You know, we did have one more topic, but now I don't even know if I want to.
yeah, I
That
think
last
you're trying
pun, it broke me. It broke
To,
me.
well,
I don't know if I can even play puns anymore. You know, I'm going to go have a pun off with somebody else after this broadcast, and I'm going to lose.
God, I hate. I'll just hate. Leave it there.
So, I guess at this point, do we have anything else we'd like to add? Any other announcements at this point, or just a good wrap-up point?
Just a quick reminder for everybody. Next Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, we'll be having a special environment Battle Royale tournament to celebrate the re-release anniversary of Phantom Dust. So if you're able to be there, I know it's in the middle of the week. We didn't give it as much notice. We've had a notice out for like a week now. But hopefully y'all can be there. We can have a good time, and we can enjoy this game that thankfully and inexplicably was resurrected for us.
Yeah, should be fun.
Well said.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and good luck to those who remain in the 1v1 tournament.